Hey guys, my name's Gloria and welcome back to my channel. So it is April of 2021 and I have been making videos on this channel for over a year now. Recently I've seen a few videos of different people giving tips and stuff that they've learned from making their own BookTube channels for anyone else who wants to make them. And I've wanted to do one myself. I planned to do one after a year of making videos, but I didn't really know what I could add to the conversation, anything that I could give personal expertise on, because I have literally no technological skills whatsoever. But I then saw a couple of more videos about, someone mentioned being a watcher for ages, just being someone who watched a lot of BookTube videos and didn't know how to start their own channel or didn't know what the first step should be to starting their own channel. And it got me thinking about when I started my own channel and the difficulties I had with just my own anxieties about certain things. So I wanted to make a tip video that is specifically for people who suffer from anxiety, people who feel like they've wanted to do something like this for ages, but they just feel too anxious about it, or their anxiety is making them believe that they can't do it, because if I can do it, I guarantee that you can do it. So this is for the anxious, the awkward, and the technologically challenged like myself who want to start a channel, particularly if it's about books, but I think there's some general tips in this as well if you want to talk about other topics as well. I'm going to be telling you what I did to prepare before I started filming videos and before I made my channel, and also what I did and still do to sort of minimize the anxiety I feel around filming and posting and engaging with other creators and whatnot. I'll be going through a number of topics. I'll put them on the screen here, and I'll also put the chapters down below so you can skip to whichever ones you like. But let's get started. So the first topic that I want to talk about is preparation. So I think, like a lot of people, I wanted to start a channel for a very long time, like years. I just thought, oh, I could be a YouTuber or something, but I never actually did anything about it. In 2018 I started a blog where I reviewed books, and it was after that that I started watching BookTube review videos to see what I could learn from them and how I could improve in my reviewing process. And I started thinking that it would be easier to articulate things in a video talking rather than trying to be really concise in written form. So I decided I wanted to make BookTube videos. Still took a while after that before I did anything. I had a small breakdown, just low one, at the end of 2019, and it was partly because of that it sort of pushed me to start my channel. I'm not suggesting anyone do that, but it was partly due to frustrations with my own anxiety and just being irrationally hard on myself. But I gave myself a deadline. I said I'm uploading my first video on the 1st of January, nothing's going to stop me, no excuses, and eventually I did. But before I did that, I did do some preparation. I gave myself a couple of months at the end of 2019 to prepare myself and sort of ease myself into the process. So one of my first tips would be to practice filming yourself. You can just do it on your phone, it doesn't matter, but film with the intention of deleting the videos and not letting anyone else see them. In the beginning you can even not review them yourself, you can just film and stop and delete them, and it's absolutely fine. There's no need to panic about that. I know that's a patronizing thing to say because anxiety, you'll panic anyway, but it's a really good way to get used to just talking to a camera. It is very bizarre in the beginning, it's very weird, still can't say I love it, but you will get used to it. At Christmas that year, my niece gave me this book of ghost stories, and in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep in their house, I just picked up my phone in my new Cookie Monster pajamas and started filming myself talking about what I thought the book would be about. And that little clip that I immediately deleted was proof to me that I could do it and I could improve on it and I could get better at it. But the initial just looking at a camera and talking, I could absolutely do. So I would say get yourself some time alone and just film on your phone or whatever you have. Film little clips of you talking about whatever, of you introducing yourself, and you can absolutely delete them afterward. They're not for anyone else's eyes, they're just for practice. After a while, I would say you should review them and you should just see what your kind of tics are. So I have a habit of slouching at the end of videos. I also say ahs and ums all the time. These are not the end of the world, but it's just picking up on little things that you can improve upon, or just noticing that you might not be looking at the camera a lot. I am also looking all over here, but I do try and bring my focus back to the camera as much as I can. Another great thing I did that I got from another tip video. I'm sure if you're looking to start a BookTube channel, you're binging all of the how-to videos at the minute. I can't remember which video this was specifically, but the person said to make a list of 100 video ideas, which sounds mental, but it's absolutely doable, and it's how I survived the first 4 months or so of my channel. You can absolutely think of 100 ideas. I'm going to put a load on the screen right now of just book video ideas, either from the list that I still have or just off the top of my head at the minute. You can absolutely use them if you want to. It's a way to prove to yourself that it is sustainable, that you can keep going and you can make videos, and it's also a way of proving to yourself that your creativity is endless, it's completely bottomless. I know for myself, you can kind of convince yourself sometimes that you're going to run out of ideas and you're just going to have to stop, and that's not true. There's people who've been making videos, BookTube videos in particular, for years, and there's still new videos for them to make, still new things for them to do. There's always more books to read, so you can absolutely make a list of 100 videos, and you don't have to make them all. Obviously, I started making them each chronologically, and then I just veered off into doing things that I wanted to do at that time, and that's what worked for me. But you can stick to the list if you need to. I think one of the most important things that I did when I was preparing to film was to script my videos. This obviously depends on the person, but I initially scripted word for word exactly what I was going to say. I wouldn't read from it, but just writing down exactly what I wanted to say helped me sort of fix it in my mind, and then I could talk more freely about it without jarring or blanking out or panicking or anything like that. I would even write out the intro that I gave at the start of this video every single time. I don't need to do that anymore, but it's definitely recommended to at least do bullet points, at least have a general idea of what you're going to say in what parts of your video. It stops you from burning out in the middle of it, up from panicking and telling yourself you can't do this and you need to stop. You can keep going as long as you have the script in front of you. You can take as many breaks as you need to, but you can definitely get to the end of it. And I am kind of glad that I'm making this in April now, because I feel like at other parts of the year, people might have this sort of deadline in their head that they have to get started. I did give myself a deadline of the 1st of January, just because I work better with deadlines, but there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't start a channel tomorrow or in the month or in 1.5 months, at any random day. It absolutely doesn't matter when you start it. So just give yourself as much time as you need to prepare and to work yourself up to it. There's no need to jump into it whatsoever, because I think that can just lead to panic and not feeling great about it. So you should try and make yourself as comfortable as possible before you actually start uploading. But that is the preparation. So next up is filming. First of all, it takes a lot longer than you think it does. For just a short review of a book that you already know what you want to say, you might think, oh, I could film it in 20 minutes and it'll be a 10 minute video, whatever. It's going to take at least an hour to set everything up, to sit down, to film, to refilm, to rethink what you were saying, to remember names. Give yourself plenty of time. Don't have a deadline for when you want to put up your first video. I think just film it when you can, and give yourself plenty of time to do that, because the filming and the editing takes a lot longer than you think it might, especially at the beginning. What you need first of all to film is a comfortable space. I would say preferably sitting. I made the mistake when I first started my channel that it was a BookTube channel, so there had to be books in the background, but the only place where we had bookshelves was behind my boyfriend's desk, so I limited myself because I couldn't film when he was using his desk, which is all day every day, so I had to get up at like 5 a.m. to try and film there. I also couldn't sit down there because the only chair that was there was his big gaming chair and it looked ridiculous, so I was standing, which was awkward, and I was shifting about and uncomfortable. And also it's the darkest little corner of our apartment and there's absolutely no light there, and it was, my first few videos are just so horrible and awkward, but I'm very glad that I did them. But I would say find a comfortable space where you can sit because it will take some time to film, and you absolutely do not have to have any kind of a background whatsoever. I've set up this little space here because I like it, but I watch so many booktubers, so many creators that just film wherever they can, in their living room, on their couch. It absolutely doesn't matter. They film in random places, they go outside sometimes, and you don't need to have a fixed background unless you want to, unless you enjoy making that and you want to do that for yourself. But there are absolutely no rules. Channels like Dane Reads or Shades of Orange, for instance, have thousands of subscribers. They have great engagement, and from what I can see, they just film in their living rooms in front of their couch in a corner by the window, and it's about the books that they're talking about and it's about the content that they're sharing. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to have a nice background, but you absolutely don't need it, especially in the beginning. Just make it as simple as possible, and also make it easy to start off with. Don't have an elaborate setting that you have to bring out furniture and move things around just to get started. I would make it as simple as possible and have the area kind of set up for yourself already if you can, if you have the space for that, so that whenever you get the urge or the energy, the mental energy to film, you can just sit down and it's ready to go and you're ready to film. In terms of equipment, you do not need anything fancy whatsoever. You basically just need your phone. There are people that I watch right now and I love their videos and they're just filming on their phone. In the beginning of my videos, I did try and film on that phone in particular, but it's a few years old and there was some weird lines in the video when I tried to edit it. But I was lucky enough to have a second-hand camera that I got off my sister to take pictures for my blog, and I used that and that worked for me. But you can absolutely just use your phone. In terms of lighting, you do not need fancy lighting at all. You need a window, you need access to the sun, so if you're underground, that's unfortunate. But the best lighting that you can have is actually from the window. During the day, obviously, if you can only film at night, you may need to get a little bit creative with where your lamps are, but for the most part, if you can film anywhere near a window, then you're absolutely sweet. You don't need anything extra, you don't need any fancy stuff that costs a lot of money, especially in the beginning. It's nigh on impossible to make money on YouTube anymore, especially when you're making videos about books, so don't go spending any money unless you really have to spare and you really want to. You absolutely do not need to spend any money at all, except possibly on books, but libraries, you know. The most important things when filming though are that you are clearly visible, that you are in focus, which was an issue with my last camera because I didn't have autofocus and I couldn't see whether I was in focus sometimes. So just make sure that you are in focus. Lighting, you should be visible for the video, and also sound. One of the things that I've noticed that really puts me off watching someone's videos is if they're way too quiet. If you're whispering, that's just not going to entice people in. It can be very frustrating, especially when you have anxiety. I live, don't know if you can hear them moving around, I live with my boyfriend and a housemate, and in the beginning it was terrifying, even though they're lovely people that I that they would be able to hear me when I was filming. And eventually I just got so sick of getting up at 5 a.m. that I got over it and I talk anyway. So right now, for example, I feel like I am screaming at the top of my lungs, but I'm actually talking quite quietly. But as long as the people who are watching your video can hear you and you're talking clearly and understandable, then that's all you need. Next up is editing and thumbnails. So when you have anxiety, I find that editing is your best friend. At any moments of blankness, any moments of just utterly whatever that is, panicking, moments where you're staring into the distance, moments when you think you hear someone and you have to stop, happens way too often for me. Or when you get distracted by the cat outside, you can just edit all of those out. One sort of silly little tip that I have is I frequently forget words, especially when I'm filming. So if I'm rambling on about a book and I've forgotten the author's name, I will freeze and I'll stay here until I know the name, and then I'll keep talking, and you can just edit out that little part of you being frozen and it will just look like a seamless sentence that you've never forgotten anything in your life. So don't worry if you make any mistakes while filming, you can edit around them, you can edit them out. What I will say is when you have your script for your video, I would say film it in parts. So film the introduction, you're gonna have to do it about 50 times the first time. Don't know why it's so hard to remember my own name, but you're gonna have to keep doing those, and it's easier if you film in small chunks, because if you make a mistake in a chunk, you can just forget about that and refilm that last paragraph you were talking about or whatever, instead of having to refilm the whole thing. Frequently I would forget to actually push the record button and I would sit talking for 20 minutes and realize I didn't film anything at all. So it's better for you, especially when you're just getting used to filming and editing and stuff, to film in small little chunks so that if you have to redo anything, it'll only be a 1 or 2 minute clip. You also don't need any kind of fancy editing. When I first started, I still edit everything on my phone because I'm terrible with technology, and putting any software on my old laptop, I think it would blow my brain. But I still edit on my phone. I initially used an app called InShot, which is free. It had little cutesy designs and stuff, and you could add music and stuff, but eventually I realized that I wanted to do more precise editing of like getting rid of specific words and stuff, and I just couldn't do it with InShot. So now I use KineMaster. Both of them are fine, whichever one you prefer. They both have a watermark. I think it's 30, I think I pay 30 quid a year to not have the watermark in it, but I've seen people upload on their channels with the watermark. It literally doesn't matter, nobody cares, nobody's going to go off on you for not paying the 30 quid to get rid of a little word in the bottom corner. But I find KineMaster great. You can just do it on your phone. You can edit so many different ways. It's very precise with editing clips. You can add sounds, you can increase the volume, which is great for quiet talkers like myself. And it's just really easy to use, really intuitive for someone who has no skills in these things whatsoever. So what about thumbnails? Thumbnails are entirely up to you. I recently watched an interesting video from Working Man Reads where he said he was no longer going to be doing a lot of editing or spending a lot of time making thumbnails, and he realized when he started uploading videos like that, his videos without fancy thumbnails were actually getting more clicks and more views. So it's entirely up to you whether you want to make an extra thumbnail at all. YouTube just gives a selection of a couple of shots from your video anyway that you can use. Thumbnails can be good though, if you do include words, to just give someone who's just scrolling through a whole selection of thumbnails just a quick view of what you're talking about. If they're looking for horror, if they're looking for book reviews, if they're looking for whatever, they'll be able to see at a glance. Apparently, if you're interested in this type of thing, thumbnails where there is a person, a face in the picture, get more clicks than just a stack of books or whatever. But that's all just sort of micro stuff. It's not really important. But I do make very simple thumbnails. I use Canva, which is also a free app. You can make all kinds of things in it. You can just find a free template. You just put your own picture in from your phone. You can add words, you can add whatever you want, you can play around with it, and you can have that template saved then so that you can just put in a new picture every time. I used to take individual thumbnail pictures with my phone, but I kept forgetting to do that. So now when I start a video, I will start by just posing with a book or whatever in these stills, and then whenever I'm editing, I'll just pause the video and I'll take screenshots of that and I'll use that for my thumbnails. But thumbnails are entirely up to you. You can make them if you want or not. So we have prepared and we have filmed and we have edited. Now it's time to upload. So if you already have a YouTube channel, if you can already comment on other people's videos, you can upload videos to that channel. If you don't, it's very easy to make a YouTube channel. You just need an email address, a username, and you're ready to go. You can upload on a desktop or a laptop, or you can upload straight from your phone. It will initially be private. This gives you time to change the thumbnail if you want, to add a title, to add description, tags, subtitles, all of that stuff. Titles should be simple with easily searchable words that are related to your video. So if you're doing a review of a Stephen King book, make sure you have those main words, Stephen King book, in your title so that people can find them. You should also include those in the tags as well. I think some people sort of don't really use the tags much, but the tags are a great way of helping people to find your video. You'll get so many more clicks from using all of the tags that you can that are relevant to your video. You can go and look at other videos that are similar to yours, other channels that are similar to yours, and see what kind of tags that they're using. Generally they're sort of generic ones like BookTube, book reviews, my favorite books, whatever, but they really do help push your book out, or push your video out there a little bit more and get you some more views. You should also include a description. It doesn't need to be anything elaborate. It can just be a short little overview of what you're going to talk about in that video. You should also include any other places that you want people to follow, any other social medias you want them to check you out on, or even just asking them to like and subscribe. It can be an easy way to prompt people into just engaging with your content. You can also have closed captions. These are the subtitles that will appear in your video. YouTube does these automatically for you, but especially if you don't have a sort of generic American or English accent like myself, they can come up with some really weird things. And closed captions aren't essential. You don't have to do them out properly yourself, but I've started doing them on my channel and I think they are a good idea. They're a way to help people who are hard of hearing, people who need subtitles in order to enjoy videos. It helps them access your content. It would really kind of break my heart if someone told me they saw my channel and they really wanted to watch my videos, but they couldn't because there was no closed captions. So I add my own. It also helps with the scripting and with the editing because I know that I'm going to have to write out almost every single word, so it helps me try and be concise. But it also helps just people who watch videos at work who aren't able to have the sound on all the time. You can just put on the subtitles and you still get all the information. It also helps with the metadata of your channel, so any of the words that you say are also out there and they're a way for people to search for your channel. So if you mention certain books or certain genres or whatever, they can still come up in suggested videos when people try and look for those things. So after you've done all that, you are ready to publish your video and make it public, make it live to everyone. What I would suggest doing is you can be the first view on your video, and I would suggest doing that. I do it on all of my videos, so YouTube will allow you to be registered as the first view. You should watch it the entire way through, and it's a way of getting those first few minutes on your channel, but it's also a way of just seeing it as it is. It's like sending an email, you'll only see the spelling mistakes after you've sent it. So it's a way of making sure that the title is spelled correctly, making sure that everything looks fine, and just seeing yourself on YouTube on this video as a viewer would see you, and seeing anything, not being harsh on yourself at all, especially not for the first few videos, but just seeing what you can improve. Maybe you don't like particularly where you're sitting or how the lighting is. It can just be a way of you seeing the whole picture. It's a great learning experience. Is it horrible and cringy and awful? Yes, it absolutely is. It still is, but it's essential in order to make better videos and just to get comfortable with it. It's never going to be your favorite thing to watch yourself, but I think for a lot of times it can be really necessary. In terms of anxiety when you upload, I step back almost immediately whenever I upload. It can be a little overwhelming, as if I think thousands of people are going to comment on my video immediately or anything, but it can just be a little bit anxiety inducing immediately, so it's totally fine to just step back and not look at the comments or anything for a little bit until you're ready to do that. That's absolutely fine. I would also say you should be the first to comment on your video and like it, but if you leave a comment and pin it at the top, just asking people what they thought of the video or what they thought of what you were talking about, or asking them to subscribe. There's a lot of people, including myself, sometimes you really want to engage with someone's content but you're not sure what to say, so if you ask a question or a couple of questions, that sort of gives them an excuse to say something, just to answer one of your questions, just so that they can leave a comment on your video. You're not immediately going to rack up hundreds of views or hundreds of subscribers. It just doesn't happen like that. It goes at different times, and you'll get loads of subscribers one week, you'll get none for like a month. That's just the way it goes. A lot of it is to do with luck. The absolute pit of despair that you can fall into is comparing yourself to other channels, especially ones that are similar to yours. If you think that someone is making the same sort of content with the same sort of setup and whatever, and they're getting a lot more views, a lot more engagement than you, it can really mess with your head, and it absolutely does no good, and I guarantee that that person is comparing themselves to someone else. So do whatever you can to not do that. I tend to really push myself to sort of celebrate other people's wins. In that way there's no space for feeling bad about myself there. I'm happy that they've got these views, they've reached 1,000 subscribers or whatever it is. That's absolutely great for them, and it will take time. I've been here for a year, almost a year and a half, and I have 300 subscribers now. I'm absolutely delighted with that number. There are people who got 1,000 in their first year. There are people who took 4 years to get to 1,000 subscribers. It doesn't matter. If you're in it to reach a certain number, you're just gonna make yourself sad. So don't worry about the numbers, the views, anything. As long as you're enjoying making the content, enjoying filming the videos, that's all it should be about. If it ever turns into more anxiety than fun, more negative than positive, you should just stop and step away from it, because it's just a YouTube channel. It is not worth your mental health. So now it's on to one of the most challenging things for people like myself with anxiety, which is engagement and sharing. So engagement is important if you want more people to see your videos, and I think a lot of people with anxiety really want to engage with a lot of people, but our condition is a barrier to that. I would love to be best friends with everyone and talk to everyone all of the time, but I just don't have the capacity to do that. It is very helpful if you reply to everyone who comments on your videos, but you absolutely don't have to. You don't have to do it immediately. I often take a day or two to reply, which I'm very sorry to anyone who does comment. I really appreciate people who do comment, but it does take a little bit of time to work myself up to it. You don't have to say anything incredibly insightful. You can just say thanks for watching, thanks for clicking on my video. But engagement really does help your channel get out there. You should also comment on other people's videos. Treat other creators' channels and videos like you would want yours to be treated. If you like someone's video, actually like it, watch it the whole way through, comment something on it, anything. You can mention other booktubers in your videos just to show that you're watching them and that you like them. A big no-no is to comment on people's channels and say, hey, come look at my channel. You can absolutely mention that you have a channel, that you've made a video similar to theirs, or you've made a review on a book that they've read or whatever, and they may, I mean, I do go and check out people's channels then and their videos and probably subscribe. They may do that, but don't be pushy with it. You can just mention it and they'll either look or they won't. It's not a big deal. But often, especially in the BookTube community, we do that. We do like to engage with other channels and to hype them up when we can. If you have any other social media like Facebook or Twitter or whatever, maybe you should think about pushing yourself to share your video there. You have no idea who is going to see it if your accounts are public, who could click on it. That can be a bit of a scary thing as well, but it can also mean just one more subscriber or one more view on your videos. You never know who's going to see it and absolutely love your stuff. If you don't have any other social media accounts, don't go making a load of them just to promote your YouTube channel unless you really want to. It can lead to spreading yourself way too thin, a lot of anxiety about thinking that you need to update Twitter and you need to update Instagram and you need to do this and you need to do that, and you absolutely don't. You can just have the YouTube channel, that's absolutely fine. It's just if you have other channels with a few followers or even your family and friends on there, you can share it with them and they can give you a couple more views. Schedules, uploading schedules. I have absolutely no schedule. I'm a chaotic demon. I upload whenever the fancy takes me. I would say in the beginning you can sort of get excited about your channel and that is great. You can get a lot of energy about it, but I would say try and fix a schedule in the beginning that is sustainable. For a while I was trying to upload like every single day because I just had so many video ideas that I wanted to get through, but it just wasn't sustainable and it ended up with me sort of burning out and not uploading for ages. I would say a good number to stick with, depending on whatever else is happening in your life and whatever other jobs you're doing and whatnot, once a week or once a month is absolutely fine. It's whatever fits with your schedule. Don't push yourself to try and upload as much as someone else, for example. It's whatever works for you. I would say you can film a few videos at a time. If you have a day set aside for filming, you can film a couple of book tags or a couple of book reviews, and you can sort of keep them for times when you don't feel like filming, when there's other stuff going on, and you can keep them to upload then. But make sure that you don't go crazy with your schedule, and you can always add to it later. You can up your schedule if you have more free time, or if you have a random video that you have the energy to make today and you want to upload it today, you can do that. You can upload extra videos. It won't hurt your channel at all, but don't add to your anxiety by thinking that you have to upload every single day or X days a week, because you don't. You absolutely don't. It's your channel, your rules. Going forward, so sustaining your channel for whatever length of time that you want to sustain it for. And it is your channel. You can end it whenever you want. You're not ruining anyone's life. You're not letting anyone down. If it's no longer fun for you, you can just stop. But in order to keep it going, you should be kind to yourself, be realistic with yourself. If you start off doing one thing but then you don't really like it anymore and you want to do another thing, absolutely do it. Your channel, your rules. You can change your niche, you can change your aesthetic, you can change from making videos about books to making videos about Russian nesting dolls. It's looking right at me. But you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter as long as you keep your viewers informed, your subscribers informed that there's going to be a change. That's absolutely fine. You can get into these sort of ruts of just making the same video every time, and you can kind of get annoyed with yourself about it. You can get into slumps where you need to take a break, and that is absolutely fine as well. We all get into slumps, we all get burned out, and we all need to step back and take a little break sometimes. That's absolutely fine, especially when you have mental health issues like this, like anxiety or depression or whatever. Nobody is going to be on your back about that. And also give yourself the freedom to be creative with it. Don't stick yourself in a really controlled box that you can't get out of. You should be able to explore new things, make new kinds of videos, not just the ones that you were expecting to make in the first place, but also don't be pushing yourself thinking that you have to do something someone else has never done before. Like, we're all here reviewing books, and that's absolutely fine. Some people are doing really cool things as well, and they're pushing themselves to learn new editing and new whatever, and that's absolutely cool. It just depends on the person, so do whatever makes you excited for the content, whatever is fun for you, whatever you think melds together what people enjoy watching and what you will enjoy making. Make sure that you never compromise your mental health for the channel. Don't stress yourself out thinking that you have to be uploading all the time, that you have to do things at a certain time. Don't think that if you're making videos about books, that you have to be reading constantly all the time. You absolutely don't. If it's stressing you out, just stop. That's what I say, and it doesn't even have to be to take down the entire channel, but if something is stressing you out, just stop, take a break, and come back to it a day, a week, a month later. It's absolutely fine. This should only be something that adds to your life and adds to your connection with other people or your enjoyment of books or whatever topic you're talking about. It shouldn't be something that negatively impacts you. So those are my tips for anyone who wants to make a channel, particularly a BookTube channel, who is awkward, has anxiety, or has no idea what they're doing like I did in the beginning. But as I said before, if I can do it, you can absolutely do it. If you do end up making a channel, or if you've just started a channel, please let me know down below. I will absolutely check it out. I love books, but I also like makeup and dancing and movies and art and all kinds of things, so I will absolutely check it out and probably subscribe, and I will like and comment on your videos. So if you like what I'm doing here, you can like and subscribe down below. I hope these tips have helped somebody out, and I shall see you in the next video.